this is my 2025 dating system. We're gonna go over what to do to date awesome women, and we're gonna go over how to do it. But first, why should you even care about my opinion, bro? Why should you trust me? Well, right now, I am happily settled with a wonderful girlfriend and coaching other guys on how to do the same. Back 3 years when I was 23 years old, I had done hundreds of cold approaches, gone on dozens of dates, had relationships with many, many awesome women. And there's a lot of bullshit on the internet. So just to show you that I'm not full of shit, here are some screenshots and lovely selfies. This was pretty awesome. That was a girl who flew to meet me in Rome. This was a girl that I cold approached in Seattle, my hometown. This was actually a girl I met in Mexico City. Lots of awesome experiences. But honestly, bro, this is not that unique. Tons of guys succeed with women. Why should you listen to me? Well, it's because of what happened before all the success. Back when I was 16 years old, I was such a coward when it came to women that I was dating my first girlfriend in high school, and I was so scared to kiss her that I never did. Unsurprisingly, she broke up with me. 2 years after that, I was 18. I met this girl I was obsessed with at a summer camp, and I hyped myself up to go talk to her. And before I could open my mouth, she looked at me and she said, "Isaac, are you cold?" I looked down and I was so terrified to talk to her. My knees were like literally shaking like this. I was like, God damn it. I cannot go through life being so terrified to talk to a pretty girl that my knees physically shake. So what happened between, 18-year-old to 23-year-old, absolute beast, to 26-year-old happily settled with an awesome girl? Well, the first thing that changed is I took action. I was sitting in this pattern of externalizing all of the responsibility for my life, blaming society, blaming the world. And that first step I took was to take ownership over my life. Action did a lot for me, got me to a place where I was no longer a coward. But action alone wasn't enough. I was doing things, but the things I were doing were bad. At that point, I realized I needed new information. I needed to change what I was doing if I wanted to change my results. What got me from still shitty with girls to crushing it with girls is a system. A system to get more per unit of effort. And that is what I'm going to share with you today. My system updated for 2025 that I developed over these 8 years of personal development and dating experience and coaching other guys on how to do the same. The exact same system that got me all of these results, got my clients these results. I'm going to share that one with you so that you can go from wherever you are right now to having an awesome, fulfilling dating life, dating great women. Sound good? Let's fucking get into it. So what's our goal? Why are we even doing all this? Well, we want to have a great dating life. Whether you want to explore and date tons of cool women and have options, or whether you want to choose the right one. With either of those goals, what it requires is that we have lots of great options. Because do you want to choose the first woman who, happens to like you? No, you want to have your pick of someone who's going to be really great. So in order to generate lots of options, we have our little options equation here. Our number of awesome options equals the number of awesome women that you meet times the number of awesome women that you attract. If either of these are zero or very low, you will not have a great dating life. If we can increase both, your dating life will explode. So this is what we're going to talk about today. How do we increase both sides of the equation? Let's talk about the meeting part first, because that's a little more simple. There's 3 ways to meet women. There's cold approach, online, and social circle. And basically what this means is cold approach is meeting strangers in person, walking up to women on the street, getting a date. Online is meeting strangers online, using Instagram or other social media, or using Hinge, Tinder, Bumble, or other dating apps to get dates from online with strangers. And then social circle is getting dates with friends of friends. All of these are super valid methods. You don't need to be good at all of them. You really only need to be good at one, but we're going to talk about all of them because the more ways you can meet women, the less exceptional you have to be at any given way. For example, if you want to get 2 dates a week, doing that just through cold approach, you got to be pretty damn good at cold approach. But if you split it up, you get 1 date a week from cold approach and 1 online. Now you can just be kind of average at both and still have an awesome dating life. So the reason why, to be honest, these are all a little bit irrelevant is because they require the same skills. Whether you meet someone in person, whether you meet someone online, whether you meet them through a friend of a friend, you still have to be able to attract her. We all know guys who are super social. They have great social lives. They're meeting tons of women, but they get friend zoned. They have tons of female friends, but no girlfriends. And that's because we don't know how to be attractive to women. Now, how do we go about becoming attractive to women? First of all, we have to believe it's possible. I spent many years of my life believing that my success with women was a product of luck. I was born a certain way, therefore this is just, what's destined to happen. Society is a certain way. Women have certain preferences, therefore my luck is destined to happen. Do you think that approach to things led to much growth in the dating arena? Fuck no, it did not. So what we want to focus on are things that we can control, aka our skills and actions. We need to take power back. All of us right now, I guarantee it, this is true for me, this is true for you, are externalizing our locus of control to some extent, right? We're casting our power away to things in the universe that we have no control over. And we need to become aware of that so that we can take our power back. And this is a term I really like. I learned it from a guy named Jocko Willink, a former Navy SEAL. It's called radical responsibility. Instead of seeking out excuses, because you'll always find them, seeking out reasons why it's not your fault, because you'll always find them, what if we seeked out reasons why it was our fault? Seeked out ways to take more responsibility? Because we all know the cliche, with great power comes great responsibility. But I like to flip that. With great responsibility comes great power. Because the more you are responsible for, the more you can control. And the more you control, the more power you have over your outcome. Imagine if you were God, if you had absolute control over your life. You could snap your fingers and, meet your wife yesterday. That's, what we would like to get closer to. Obviously, there's always going to be things out of our control, but the more we can take ownership of, the more levers we can pull to get the result we want. So we want to take radical responsibility for our life. And that starts with changing our identity. Without getting too deep into the psychology, identity is the most powerful force of behavior change. And I call it switching out the sunglasses. Right? If you're wearing sunglasses, it doesn't matter what's going on in the world. You will perceive it as dark. You take off those sunglasses, aka the lens through which you're viewing yourself in the world, all of a sudden everything looks bright again. Did anything change in the world? No, but the way you look at it does. And that's why calibrating our mindset and our identity is so important. If we see ourselves as someone who's aligned with growth and potential, and we may be lame now, but we have the power to change, we're very likely to go out and take action toward becoming that new version of ourselves. If we have a fixed mindset, aka we believe that our circumstances are due to luck rather than our skills, we believe that we don't have the power to change and transform, we're very unlikely to go take positive action to change our life, because why would you do something that you don't believe will work? So attaching our identity, not to being good at things, not to, protecting our ego, but to learning, to growing, to being brave, to facing our fears, right? These transformation-oriented identities is going to be the very key first step. And we do this, the way I do it with my guys is something I call the alchemy of self. We literally create the future version of you. We create a new identity for you that you're going to step into. We detail it all out with beliefs that you want to have, daily rituals. We make a vision board for yourself. We rewrite your story from a victim telling of it to the hero's journey format, which is a very powerful thing to do. We write a letter from our future self so we can vision, we create a vision for what our life will look like when we become this 2.0 man version of us. Talk about our virtues, our character traits, our habits, blah, blah, blah. We're basically building the video game character that we are going to then become. So we change our identity. Once our identity is aligned with our goals, we can make much faster progress rather than taking one step forward and then self-sabotaging and taking 2 steps back. Now, there's some more ways we can supercharge our transformation, right? This is about getting yourself in the right environment. And there are 3 ways to level up faster. You can change what you do, aka your habits. You can force change by just forcing yourself to do the thing that the man you want to become would do. It's like, all right, the man I want to become would probably approach women. So I'm going to force myself to go fucking approach women, right? Easier said than done, but that will force change. You can change what you listen to, right? If you are surrounded by negative people, negative podcasts, doom scrolling social media, our thoughts and our beliefs become the sum of all of this information we're consuming. So cut that shit out, start listening to positive people, start listening to coaches, mentors, inspirational people, cut out TV shows and switch with them with documentaries about great people, podcasts about great people. You can do this shit on your own. And then change who you compare yourself to. One of the best ways to level up is surround yourself with people who are on your level and slightly above in the areas that you care about. For example, when I was trying to level up at dating, I switched out the YouTube videos I was watching to exclusively dating videos. I switched out the people I was around from, losers, for lack of a better word, to other guys who also cared about life and cared about self-improvement, whether it was in dating or not. Some of them were, more about business or fitness, but surrounding yourself with people who give a shit, who fucking care. And then changing what you do, right? I built new habits that forced myself to grow. And you can do this on your own. That's what I did before I hired my own dating coaches. I did this on my own for several years. The easiest way to do it is to lock yourself into something that forces you to do all three. So that's why I really love the program I do with my guys, because we have a brotherhood community that changes who you compare yourself to. We have online trainings from me that change what you're listening to. And then we have a step-by-step action program that changes what you do. But this isn't about my program. You can do this on your own. You can do it with me. But whatever you do, whatever action you choose to take, make sure it has these three elements, because this is what will supercharge your progress. Okay, still with me? Let's keep rolling. Now, this is all kind of laying the foundation, right? We're calibrating our mindset, calibrating our beliefs and our identity so that when we start taking action, it will be as effortless and resistance-less as possible. Now, let's start taking some fucking action, bro. Like I said, there's three ways to meet women. They boil down into these two categories of skills. We need in-person skills and we need online skills. I'm going to start with in-person because that's generally the one that we want to master the most, right? We all dream of being that guy who can walk up to a hot girl and get her number. So the first thing we need to do is master the approach. That means we need to switch approach anxiety to approach excitement. When you see a hot woman, you need to stop letting your fear control you and instead see that as an opportunity, not a threat. There's a lot of ways we do that. I use a adaptation of cognitive behavioral therapy, of exposure therapy that I've adapted to the realm of dating. We go out and give ourselves a series of gradually increasing social challenges to rewire our brain to confront fear and embrace it rather than run away from it, and then level up to the point where we are comfortable making an approach on the spot. Now we've conquered our fear, we're in the conversation, but we got to make sure the conversation goes well, right? How many times have you started talking to a beautiful woman and then you ran out of things to say? Or you had a great platonic interaction, but you just didn't know how to flirt, make it spicy, make it sexual. So we use a beginner framework when we just start. Very simple, hello, then you flirt, then you ask for the number. Once we master that, we level up to our advanced framework, which is open, that's starting the conversation, establishing premise, aka showing her that this is a man-to-woman interaction rather than friend-to-friend. We qualify her, right? We set ourselves up as the prize, making her have to invest in the conversation and win us over. We build narrative and history together, which increases comfort. So now she's both attracted to us and comfortable with us. And then it's time to go for the close. And if you're worried about getting rejected, right? We get rejected because we haven't done enough to earn her saying yes, right? We ask for the date before she's ready, before she's bought in. These steps, if you do all these steps well, she's dying for you to ask her out. She's like, holy shit, who is this guy? He's smooth. He knows what he's doing. He views himself highly. He believes in himself that he's the prize. He's making me win him over. Who is this man? I need to meet him and have him in my life. And at that point, when you ask for the date, she's not like, fuck, how do I politely reject this guy? She's like, finally, I was praying you'd ask. Of course I want to go on a date with you. And if you implement this framework, bro, you think you're going to get girls showing up on dates, dreading it, or fucking excited to be there, ready to win you over. They're going to be excited to be there, ready to win you over. And that's how you have really easy, fun dates. So that's mastering the in-person approach. Now, how are we going to do it online? Similar funnel, but just looks a little bit different. First, we got to optimize our profile, right? A good profile makes everything easier. So many guys are out there swiping, putting very little effort into their profile. And it's like trying to bike uphill with like a shitty bike. First, switch to a motorcycle, and then the journey uphill is going to be much easier. So we optimize your profile. We go in. What I do with my guys is we open up your camera roll, go through every single photo that you think even has a chance of working for your profile. We put them in a folder, and then we go through them based on best practices and principles of attraction, which is too much for this video, but we can go over another time. And then using those principles of attraction, we construct our profile to be optimal. Just in short, what we're looking for in an online profile is to signal social value, right? Above all else, that's what's going to trigger an emotional attraction to us. Similar to when we look at a hot woman, right? For us, it's very looks focused. We can't control just feeling drawn to her. Women experience the same thing, but what draws her to us is just slightly different than what draws her to them. Is a common misconception. It's much less about looks and more about conveyed social value. So that's what we're trying to optimize for in our profile. We can do that with social proof, having hot girls, cool people around us in the photos. We can do that with our environment, being in a high value environment like a boat, like a cool coffee shop, like a nice restaurant. We can do it with our style, right? Dressing like someone who matters would. We can do that with our posture and our body language, standing and posing like someone who believes in themselves, someone who views themselves as a king would. And we can do that with our expression, right? No more LinkedIn cheesing up, trying to get people to like us. Fuck that. Someone who's truly confident and high value wouldn't need to change anything to make people like them. People would just gravitate to them naturally. And number two, they wouldn't care if anyone liked them because they already have so many social options. It truly doesn't matter to them. So cheesing up in the photos, smiling too much implies all the wrong things. It implies that we need to try, and it implies that we can't just exist and have girls gravitate to us. So we want to act like the high value of version of ourselves would, therefore signaling to her that we are that man. Again, this is something deep that we can dive into later, but that's just a high level overview. Now we've got our profile optimized. Now it's time to master the messaging. We use the exact same framework for messaging that we do in person, leading the conversation toward a date. But I'll tell you, bro, if you have a optimized profile, this gets so much easier, right? Guys with we all know attractive guys can get away with way more and do way less to earn a date. Same with online. If you have a great profile, you will just have the easiest time messaging rather than right now. It probably feels like you're fighting a battle uphill, getting ghosted a lot, getting rejected a lot. So now we've mastered both online and in-person attraction skills, and we end up at the same place, bro. We got her number. Now it's time to plan a date. How many times have you lost a girl in this texting process? Probably a lot. So we need to learn how to text like a champion, and more importantly, text in a way that actually leads to a date rather than a conversation to nowhere, a ghost, or a rejection. To do that, we adapt, again, same conversation framework, because this is all based on principles. There's no gimmicks or weird shit. It's that when we understand the principle and the system, we can apply it to all these different ways of having a conversation, whether that's in person, whether that's messaging on apps, or whether it's texting. So now we know how to text, and we are getting dates, bro. We're attracting women both in person and online. We're getting numbers, and we're converting those numbers into dates. And this is what I was talking about at the beginning, bro. If you have both of these channels working, it is not hard to go on 2 quality dates a week. Imagine if like every Thursday and every Saturday, you were on a date with a girl you were genuinely excited about. Like imagine the difference in your lifestyle, bro. And over a year, that's like 108 new quality women like dated. If you can't meet like someone that you would cuff up in 108 tries, like we've got different issues, bro. You do this for a year, you are gonna find the fucking love of your life, or you're gonna have a ton of fun and be swimming in options, whatever your goals are, right? You're in the driver's seat, you get to choose. So we got 1 date a week from in person plus 1 date a week online equals 2 quality dates a week. And we are living like a fucking king. Now we're on the dates, bro. We just gotta make sure the dates go well. I'm sure you've had shitty dates before, dates where you were really excited about the girl, but she didn't reciprocate, and the night ended with a awkward hug or an awkward kiss on the cheek. You invited her back to her apartment. She made some excuse about being, busy or it being too late, and you left disappointed. None of that, bro. We learn date skills. You got to learn how to flirt, tease, and escalate so that the date from her perspective is going better and better and better throughout the night. She's getting more and more invested. And then we make it physical, right? We close the deal, for lack of a better term. We kiss, we touch, we take her back to our apartment whenever you're ready, right? You don't have to obviously like sleep with tons of girls on the first date if that's not your vibe. But the point is empowering you, right? Putting you in the driver's seat so that you can, right? You're not a victim of what she wants or a victim of fate. And then lastly, you're swimming in all these options, right? You're going on 2 dates a week with awesome women, so you can choose the one that is right for you. And most guys, like the guys who go through it with me, it doesn't take them a year, right? Because realistically, you shouldn't need 108 dates to like find someone. Generally, guys find it in month 2 or month 3, right? Month 1, you're kind of just gearing up, doing all the foundational stuff, getting your skills ready. And then somewhere in month 2 or month 3, they stumble on someone that they weren't expecting that they really, really like. And they want to grow the relationship with them. And that's where we learn long-term relationship skills, how to keep it flirty, keep it fun, keep her interested, and keep it attractive even as you get more used to each other. And then also more wholesome stuff like how do you listen better? How do you empathize? How do you set goals together, right? This alchemy of self that we did for ourselves, outlining the man that we want to become, you can do that with your couple. It's a very cool thing to do, right? You can design the future that you want with your partner. And then that aligns both of you, gets you on the same page so that you can work together toward becoming that version of you guys. Now, you might be thinking right now, all right, this is awesome, right? We got this whole system, but like, does it actually work? And like, I have had shitty experiences in the past. Would it work for me? Well, I want to show you 3 guys that it did work for to give you a little more self-belief, so that hopefully you can get over the excuses that are running through your mind right now and actually fucking take some action. Take a first step toward improving your dating life and having the life that you fucking want, bro. Not letting these excuses rule you anymore. So this is Dalton. I put these sunglasses on everybody for, respect and privacy. And when we started working together, he had 0 dates in the 3 months before I met him. After doing the program, actually during the program, he slept with 6 different women in 6 weeks. And then he chose one, right? This isn't about hooking up with as many fucking people as you can and being like a man slut. It's about generating quality options. And he chose one that he wanted to date. And he loved to send me like selfies and photos with the girls he's going out with, fired me up, fired him up. So he actually implemented this system, right? The system itself doesn't do shit, bro. Like you can watch my videos all fucking day. It only matters if you put it into action. So he actually put the system into action and he got the fucking results. This is Daniel. We met after he had a really shitty breakup. She basically like destroyed his confidence and he was at a really low point in his life. Well, guess what? He also didn't just fucking talk and watch videos. He took action. He implemented the goddamn system. And guess what? No surprise, he also got results. He went from, no confidence, couldn't even walk up to a girl, to cold approaching every day. Very quickly, in month 2, he got a fulfilling friends with benefits. He's a younger guy, so he was really satisfied with that. And he was growing that relationship while casually enjoying life and the freedom of being a young single guy with lots of options. So props to fucking Daniel. He didn't sit there and make excuses. He actually implemented the goddamn plan. And then Freddie, shout out, started out no success with women since college. Was, crushing it early on, like when he was 18, 19, 20, 25 now, hadn't had success in the last 5 years. Again, you're noticing a theme. He didn't just watch the fucking videos and sit on his ass. He implemented the plan. And surprisingly, not surprisingly, he got fucking results. Consistent matches for the first time. His dating apps were not working for him at all before. Consistent dates, instant dates. This is actually a photo he sent me from an instant date. If you're not familiar with the term, that's cold approaching someone, meeting them, and then taking them on a date right there. It's fucking awesome to be able to do that. And he's gaining experience with lots of different women, on the path to figuring out what he wants in life. Importantly, bro, all 3 of these guys did not come to me as studs, right? If there's any doubt in your mind that like, oh, would this work for me? Am I that guy, right? Identity. Am I that guy? There's probably a piece of you thinking, I'm not that guy, right? I've never been good with women. I, doubt myself too much, whatever. All 3 of these guys had their demons too. For Dalton, his was he had always failed in the past. He doubted whether trying something new would work. For Daniel, he was fucking broke, and he used that as an excuse not to start improving his dating life. For Freddie, he had other priorities. He's a very cool guy, an entrepreneur growing a business. He was like, too busy. It's not the right time in my life. But you know what all of these excuses did? They prevented action. All 3 of these people, just like we all do, they were casting their power to something they couldn't control. And if we keep doing that, guess what? Days go by, weeks go by, months go by. In his case, 5 years went by and it still wasn't the right time. Because you know what? You're never going to have the perfect time to start. You're never going to have the perfect, bank account to start. You're never going to have the perfect confidence to start and the perfect mindset. But winners don't wait until they have perfect information and perfect resources. They take the step with the resources that they have. And That is why I'm showing you these guys so that you can see it's not about being a fucking stud or being perfect. It's about being willing and committed to grow. These guys overcame their dragons and they won the battle with their mind. They took action. They took a step. They followed the fucking plan and they changed their lives. And that is what I want for you, bro. That's why I'm making this video. Whether we end up working together or whether you do this on your own, what I fucking care about, bro, is you do something. So I want you to promise something to me and to yourself right now. That this is not going to be just another YouTube video that you fucking watched, add to your, mental masturbation bank, and then go on with your life. I want you to take this and I want you to take a step right the fuck now, whether that's putting an action item in your calendar to watch another video from me or another dating coach to learn something new, whether that's putting an action item in your calendar to go approach a woman, whether that's putting an action item in your calendar to go fucking upgrade your style or get a gym membership, whatever it is. I want you to leave this video and take the first step right the fuck now before your excuse-loving, self-sabotaging brain can tell you another reason not to. Let's fucking go.